So Vince, thank you so much for sitting down, my friend.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. So, who's the man behind Pi?
Hey guys, welcome to my video. With so much interest about the Pi Network, I wanted to do a video about the creators, who they are, and what we know about them so far. I did a lot of digging for this video, so I think a lot of you guys are going to find this pretty interesting. But for anybody who don't really know what the Pi Network is, here's my best explanation. You can say that the Pi Network is a decentralized cryptocurrency platform that is pretty much a more practical version of Bitcoin.
And you can think of Pi as being a version of Bitcoin, but that's been reimagined for everyday people.
It was invented by a couple of Stanford graduates, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the coolest part about this project is that you can mine Pi from your phone. And it doesn't cost you anything, and it takes about 10 seconds each day, or if you really want to factor it, about an hour each year. This makes the cryptocurrency super accessible to the average person, and it's really one of my favorite things about this project. Right now I believe that there's about 13 million people on this platform, and the coin is scheduled to be released in Q4 of 2021. This can mean anytime from October, November to December, and I think by that time a lot of questions about the network will be addressed. If this sounds interesting to you guys, make sure to use the invitation code MAGICTUNA. And don't forget that this project doesn't take any time, effort, or money from you, and there hasn't been any cases of your data being stolen. And with that being said, let's talk about the topic of this video, which is who are the creators of the Pi Network? What do we know about them, and can we trust them so far? One thing I can say for sure is that these developers have a pretty good history on the internet. There's actually a lot of information about them, and I think a lot of you guys will learn something new in this video. I want to start off with the head of technology for the Pi Network. His name is Dr. Nicholas Kakalis, and he's responsible for a lot of the back-end development of this project.
Every innovation that we had in the history was there because it filled a significant gap that existed in the world.
Right off the bat, you can see that his resume is pretty stacked. He attended the University of Crete from 1998 to 2002, and would later go on to get a master's degree from the University of Toronto and also another master's degree in management science and engineering from Stanford. And I know this sounds like a lot already, but he would later go on again to get a PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford and is now doing his postdoc there. Now, his academic accolades sound pretty impressive, but how do we know that this is true? Nowadays, anybody on the internet can lie about who they really are. And I think one of the things I love about the Pi Network is that there's a lot of evidence on the internet proving these things to be true. You can see his academic profile on Stanford.com, and it's going to list exactly what I told you guys so far. But if you're somebody who needs more proof, we can actually take a look at some of the classes that he teaches. And let's take a look at CS359B. This is a blockchain application design class that he leads. And the goal of this class is really to teach you how to design your own blockchain application. I think this is pretty good news for anybody who's skeptical of the project, because this at least shows that he has the skills or ability to really create an application on the blockchain. And it looks like he also has the credentials here to build, let's say, a real cryptocurrency. If you want to take a look at some of his classes, there's actually a clip of his student's final presentation here. One thing you can take away so far is that Nicholas appears to be who he says he is so far. This sounds like a lot of information about him already, but there's a lot more actually online. And I really do think that this is going to give you guys a better picture of who he really is. You see, even before the Pi Network, he was involved in a lot of other projects as well. He was the founder of Gameola, which created casual flash games for social media networks. Flash games used to be really popular back when I was in middle school. I hope you guys remember Kid and Cannon, because that was one of my favorite games back then. And here's a couple of clips of games that he produced back in 2009. And this included racing games, puzzle games, and even adventure games. From this, we can see that he's always been entrepreneurial. And apart from creating his own flash game company, he was also the CTO of StartX. And StartX is a non-for-profit business community that helps startups raise money. You might be familiar with some of the projects that came out of StartX, including Limebike, which is a really popular scooter platform around cities in the US. OpenSea, which is one of the best places to buy NFT collectibles. And Boosted, which is known for their electric skateboards. One of the coolest things about this project is that it's now valued at around $26 billion with almost 600 startups created. And it's really incredible that Dr. Nicholas Kakalis had a hand in this project. I think this gives a lot of credibility to him as a person, and this leads me to one of his newest projects, which is the Pi Network. When we take a look at his academic research, we can see that he focused on a lot of crowdsourcing and also collective social capital. And another way you can say this is that he wanted to leverage a large group of people to make the world better. And from some of these research, he was able to meet Dr. Fan, who would later form the Pi Network with Dr. Kakalis. And just like Dr. Kakalis, Dr. Fan also has a PhD from Stanford University. She holds a PhD in computational anthropology. This is actually the first time that I've ever heard this term, but it's basically the science of how human behavior patterns change in time and space. I'm guessing she builds a lot of computational models on how a group will behave. And this applies a lot to the Pi network because they're basically trying to get people to buy, exchange, and use Pi coins. And how we use these coins will ultimately decide on the price and whether or not this whole project will succeed. She plays a pretty big role in expanding the Pi network both in Asia and also in America. And before the Pi network, she also founded her own business. She worked as the CEO of Marriott Hub back in 2017. The company was able to receive about $100,000 in funding. She designed a Chrome extension that helped you email multiple people. Basically, instead of emailing one person at a time, you can email 1,000 people at once. And if you want to learn more about this, here's a quick clip or YouTube video of how this system works. This tells me that she has a strong entrepreneurial spirit just like Dr. Nicholas Kakalis. And one of the more interesting things that I found when I was doing research on her is really another company that she started. Right now, she's listed as a CEO of a company called Social Chain. And it looks like to me that this is actually the company behind the Pi network. And I'm really curious to see what happens in the future. The last founding member of the Pi network is Vince McPhillip, or the head of community for the Pi network. And similar to the other members of the Pi network, he also has a strong academic background. He graduated from Yale University with a bachelor's in political science. And just like the other members on this team, he also had his own business projects as well. He started his own wellness program called Wellwin. And although I couldn't really find too much about the project today, I did see that he worked for a non-profit consulting company. The company's called Bridgespan Group, and he likely worked as a management consultant for the company. And the goal of Bridgespan Group is trying to help non-for-profit companies become more efficient. This includes gathering as much data as you can on the company, trying to reduce costs, and also focusing on areas for that company to improve. After working at Bridgespan, he attended Stanford University for his MBA, and at Stanford, he would get more and more interested in cryptocurrency, and while attending, he would start the Stanford Blockchain Collective. This was a group of people who were interested in using cryptocurrency to change the world.
There's no expensive investing, none of that. It's just a basic mobile application that anyone can download from your phone. We're on the Play Store and on the App Store, and you can, start earning Pi today.
And this group would eventually grow to about 750 people. And today he still sits with Dr. Nicholas Kakalis to manage the group. So far, I think I can paint a pretty good picture of what happened. It looks like to me that Dr. Nicholas Kakalis and Vince McPhillip met at this group, and Dr. Nicholas Kakalis and Dr. Fan met during a research project. And since all three of them were interested in using cryptocurrency to change the world, they came together and created Social Chain, and under Social Chain, they created the Pi network. I think this is a pretty plausible explanation of how the Pi network started. They all had an interest in cryptocurrency and they all wanted to use it for some sort of good. And the project seems pretty trustworthy right now, especially in the hands of these people. I will have to say that Vince is no longer with the project. This happened on February 2nd, 2021, and there's not a lot of explanations about this. All we know so far is that it might involve some sort of litigation case. And whatever happens, I'll try to keep you guys posted. But what I do know so far is that with his departure, it looks like Christina Birch will be the new marketing personnel for the Pi network. She's the founder of the Roy G. Biv Collective, and her latest project is the Pi network. She served as a former senior vice president of creative advertising for Sony, and it looks like her company helped promote films like Spider-Man, Jumanji, and even Transformers. I think with her help, she's really going to push this project to the next level. This might include marketing campaign and also a redesign of the Pi app in general. And apart from her, there's also a lot of different members working for the project as well. What I can say so far is that this project looks pretty legit, especially because they have the personnel and also expertise to make this thing successful. I'm excited to see what will happen, and I'll update you guys whenever I receive new information. Make sure to check out some of the links below for free products at no cost to you. And like always, I'll see you guys again next time, and I hope you guys are having a great day.
What's important is that now the world knows something better, and the world will adapt, whether it is by changing the code of Bitcoin, whether it is by changing our regulations, whether it is by changing our mindsets, or whether it is by creating new and different other coins that make more sense in 2021. In the end of the day, what's important here is that there is a new technology that has significant advantages.